Yo, what's up guys? So today we're going to be checking out the Endgame Gear OP1 8K, and I will let you guys know why I think that this is one of the best mice you can get in 2024. And before we jump into the video, I just wanted to mention that I paid for this mouse with my own money, and I also wanted to mention that 99.1% of you guys who watch my videos aren't subscribed, so if you enjoy the content, I appreciate it if you drop a sub. So in terms of unboxing experiences, it's nothing to write home about, but it's not bad either. Upon opening the box, we're immediately presented with the mouse. You'd be seated in here like this, and it would be in a plastic dust sleeve with the cable bundled nicely in the included rubber strap. We take the mouse out, and the cardboard insert. We find a little envelope, and inside here, we will find a extra set of skates, a set of grips, the user guide, as well as a quick start guide. And we also get a screwdriver, and the quick start guide also has some disassembly instructions on it as well, which is awesome to see, as well as the included screwdriver, but we'll touch on that later. So the OP1 8K comes in at $75 US. I picked mine up for 110 Canadian off of Amazon.ca, which is an extremely reasonable price for what you're getting. It comes in two colors, either fully blacked out or the one that I have, which is white with black accents. My unit comes in at 51.2 grams, which is 0.7 grams heavier than what's on the packaging, but a plus or minus of about a gram is typically what's expected, and some of that contributing factor likely comes from the cable as well. We'll get into a little bit more detail about the cable later, but the cable itself is a lightweight paracord. It's angled upward to directly out of the box to reduce drag, which is a great feature considering that this is a mouse that needs to compete with other wireless mice on the market. Under the hood, we have a PAW 3395 sensor, KLGX main clicks, which are custom tuned by Endgame Gear, and KL GM 2.0s on the sides, and a TTC silver encoder. I have no issues with the build quality of the mouse. There's no shelf flex, no creaking, and it just feels all around solid. I have one issue, which I believe is a firmware issue, but I will touch on that in a bit. The coating, it's been great so far. I haven't had any issues with it, and I don't feel like I need any grips, but that's subject to change over time as the coating gets worn down. But I've been using it for about a month and no complaints as of now. The shape is very similar to a Pulsar X2 V2 Mini from the side, but looking at it from the top down, you'll notice that the side curves in a bit, and this mouse is really designed to be used in a claw grip, and those curved sides really help with that. For fingertip and relaxed claw, this thing has been absolutely amazing. Aggressive claw works great with the shape as well, but as always, keep in mind that shape is subjective, and something that I or one of your favorite reviewers might be loving is something that you might hate, so that's something important to keep in mind. The stock skates are not 100% PTFE, which I'm not a big fan of, but I have been using them for the sake of testing. And one thing you'll notice is that the screw holes are exposed on both sets of feet included, and that is because Endgame Gear actually encourages you to tinker with this mouse. But before we dive into that further, the stock skates performance is passable, but I would really recommend purchasing the 100% PTFE skates from Endgame Gear, or putting on your preferred skates of choice as soon as possible. The main clicks feel really great. They are consistent across the entirety of the switch, or of the click rather, which is really nice. And there's very minimal pre-travel, so they're very snappy. I mentioned it earlier, but the KLGX switches were tuned in-house by Endgame gear and can be configured to actuate both from the top contact point and the bottom. So from the top contact point, which is the GX speed mode, that occurs basically as soon as the switch activates. So the switch is activating in microseconds, not milliseconds like we're typically used to, which is absolutely insane. However, I have issues with this, and I have noticed double clicking as well as in some tracking scenarios in Kovacs, the button becomes inactive, which is kind of annoying. So I have turned that off and I use GX safe mode, which has eliminated the issue. My understanding is that this is a firmware issue and it can be refined in future firmware updates. And I'd also just like to give a big shout out to Max at Endgame Gear, who took out some of the time from his busy schedule at Computex last month and gave me a hand with debugging the issues I had. Much appreciated. The main clicks can easily be swapped out as well, which is something that is almost unheard of when it comes to OEM mice. And this is, again, actually because they encourage you to take this mouse apart, even going as far as including a screwdriver to do it. We simply have to take out these two screws, lift up while pushing forward, unplug these three connectors. So now that we got those unplugged, we just unscrew these two screws on the click and pull out the assembly of the click. So while we have this apart, something that is absolutely amazing to see and really shows that this is really made for enthusiasts is the fact that we have metal threaded inserts. So you never have to worry about stripping the threads no matter how many times you take this thing apart, which is absolutely amazing to see. Endgame Gear sells switch packs, so you can simply pick your desired switch and swap it back in and reassemble, and you're good to go. I really can't emphasize how amazing it is to see this functionality out of the box and to not have to worry about voiding your warranty to make the mouse suit you better. And I really hope that this is something that we see going forward in more mice in the future. To round out the clicks, the side clicks feel great as well. They're not mushy at all and very snappy. And another note, the hot swappability, not sure if that's a word or not. If it's not, I just made it up, but it's only available on the main clicks, not the side clicks. The mouse comes stock at 8K hertz, as the name suggests, which is unfortunately something that I am not able to utilize as I'm bottlenecked by old computer hardware, which hopefully I'll be fixing soon. But if you have a newer PC, this thing will be an absolute laser beam. It is objectively best in class when it comes to consistency with polling rates. Taking a look at some testing graphs, if we look at the ULX at 4K hertz, there's quite a bit of up and down. And if we compare that to the OP1 AK at 4K hertz, there is no drop off, and you'll see that it's just absolutely on the line consistently during the test. This is due to the fact that the mouse is in fact wired, and with current technology, data will always transfer faster through a cable than wirelessly. I know that a wired mouse in 2024 will definitely raise a few eyebrows, and I was for sure one of those people who felt like it couldn't be all that great after being wireless only for so many years. But once I got this on my desk and started putting in some time with it, I'm having a really hard time keeping it off my desk or using anything else. And with a mouse bungee, I don't even notice the wire at all. This mouse is consistently able to sustain high polling rates, as I showed in those charts earlier. And if you have a 380 hertz monitor and are a bit of a schizo when it comes to getting the absolute pinnacle of performance, Endgame Gear has presented the OP1 AK to you on a silver platter. And even as someone who has a 144 hertz monitor, older hardware, and I can rarely notice a difference between 1K and 4K hertz, this is something that I can notice a difference as well. So something that I had mentioned before is bottlenecking with older PC hardware, and I believe that the consistency that I touched on before is not only present when it comes to the polling frequency, but also the effect it has on your hardware. I typically will run most of my mice on 2K hertz to avoid frame drops and micro stutters, but with this mouse I can run it at 4K hertz consistently without dropping any frames. And this is a little bit speculative of me, but I do believe it is contributed to wireless being more CPU intensive, as well as accounting for those ups and downs, whereas the OP1 8K is just a consistent data flow. But I am not super knowledgeable on that area, so if someone is more knowledgeable than me, feel free to leave a comment. Overall, I really can't recommend this mouse enough. You can tell the amount of love that has gone into engineering this mouse from Endgame Gear and how much of a passion project it really is. And while wires might make some people cringe, this mouse is definitely worth getting your old mouse bungee out for. If you're an enthusiast in the scene, this is absolutely something that was made for you to try. And in my opinion, we should be supporting companies like Endgame Gear who are really catering to us in the scene as enthusiasts. If you're someone looking for best in class performance, you play fingertip, relaxed, or aggressive claw, and aren't scared of a little wire that you don't even notice at the end of the day, this is absolutely something that needs to be on your radar. So that's going to do it for me for this video, guys. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like and a sub to support the channel, and drop me a follow on Twitter as well. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.